Now, you've heard me say before when I talk about cops that, I know cops. My grandpa was a cop. My dad was a cop. My oldest brother was a cop. A lot of my best friends from Chicago were cops, right? So I know a lot of cops. I come from a long line of cops. I've been around cops my whole life. And when I say that most cops are criminals, people are like, how could you say that? Because I know them. And I don't mean criminals like they go out and they're going to stick you up on the street, which they do that too, right? They do that to black people all the time. We've seen videos. We've played videos on the show. Black guys being shaken down by white cops. But what I mean by that is like they do illegal things all the time, meaning when a cop brutalizes someone or violates someone's civil rights or does something, they just turn the other way. They don't do anything. They don't report that guy, which is a crime. So we all know that the thin blue line, we know what that is. That's the blue line of silence, right? That means you don't talk. That's the cops' version of don't snitch. So they're just like gangs. They do the don't snitch. And that's what I mean when I say they're all criminals. And they don't have any problem not snitching. They don't have any problem breaking the law, because that's breaking the law. And you're allowing someone else to break the law. And but the thing is weird is you're allowing someone else to demean your own profession. Like when comics are out there stealing jokes, like Carlos Mencia, all the other comics say stuff, right? We don't want someone else to demean our profession. But cops, they all go, hey, you killed a 10-year-old kid playing with a toy gun within 2 seconds. I'm behind you. So that's what I'm talking about. And now the Alton Sterling murder in Baton Rouge. You saw the video. The cops are on 2 cops on top of a guy. And then the one cop pulls out his gun and shoots the guy 6 times. He shot him 6 times, point blank. Now, when you shoot a guy once, that means you're scared for your life. When you shoot a guy 6 times, you are angry. You are pissed off. You're unloading your gun into a guy at point blank range. You don't think one bullet would have done it? No, 6. 1, 2, son of 5, 6. 6 bullets? You're a trained cop? So that's an out-of-control murderer. That's what that cop is, out-of-control murderer. And guess what the other cops are? Criminals. Why are the other cops criminals, Jimmy? So this is the guy here who owned that convenience store. So the cops show up. They're supposed to be protecting safety. They're supposed to be peace officers. There's someone there's threatening the peace. They're supposed to come and diffuse the situation. That's not what they do. They immediately escalate the situation into a violent confrontation. If cops show up, there's going to be some violence because there wasn't any before. The cops show up, they start beating up a guy, and then they murder him in point blank range. 6 shots to his chest. 6! And while he's laying there dying, they do nothing to help him. What do? They go and they immediately confiscate this guy's surveillance video. Confiscate it immediately. Here's what he says. The guy's name who owns that store is Maflahi. He claims that he filed a lawsuit on Monday in Baton Rouge District Court. He says that Salamani, that's the guy who killed the guy, shot him 6 times. After he killed Alton Sterling, he immediately told responding officer Lieutenant Robert Cook and Officer Timothy Ballard to confiscate the entire store security system and, ready for this, detain the store owner. Wait a minute, I thought the store owner's the good guy you're coming to protect. He's the businessman. Aren't you supposed to be protecting him, his citizenry? Wouldn't you be worried about him? No. What did they do? Cook and Ballard took away Maflahi's cell phone and the video on it and locked him in the back of their car before they entered the store. So the guy who owns the store, they locked him up like he's a criminal. He's not a criminal. You know who's the criminal? Those cops. Because you know why they're locking him up? Because they want to sabotage the evidence of this other cop's murdering a guy in point blank range on camera. That's what's happening. I was pounding on the car window when they went into the store. They lock up the store owner? Why would they do that? Because they're going to go do some criminal shit right now. That's why. That's why. That's what I mean when I say they're covering up for a fucking murderer. Right now, they're going. Could you imagine if that was a gang murder and the gang guys showed up and they took the guy who owned the store and they put him in the back of their car and they went in there and they grabbed their videotape? You'd be like, people would be going crazy. But since the cops did it, it's okay. Why? They're criminals. So he was confined in the car for the next 4 hours. A guy gets shot at his store. They come and lock up the guy who owns the store. Why would you do that? Again, because you're doing criminal shit and you don't want that guy around. The only time he was let out was to use the bathroom. The officers would not allow Mr. Maflahi to use the restroom inside of his own business. He was escorted to the side of the building and forced to relieve himself right there within arm distance of a Baton Rouge Police Department officer and in full view of the public.
Because he's a criminal?
Because he's a criminal? No. Because he might catch you motherfuckers doing criminal stuff inside of his store after you just criminally murdered someone on video. Criminals, and that guy's a lieutenant, criminals. The whole, and Baton Rouge, again, that's one of those police departments that should be disbanded. The Justice Department should come in and disband this place. Because not only are they treating Alton Sterling, the guy who they showed up to, they're treating everybody like a criminal in that whole neighborhood. He's not a white guy. I don't have to treat this white guy nice. We can do whatever we want, which they did. During the 4 hours inside the cop car and another 2 hours at police headquarters. He was allegedly prevented from making a phone call to his family or an attorney for 6 hours. Why would you do that to the guy who owned the store? He's not the criminal. Oh, that's right, because you're still doing criminal shit. That's why, because the cops are criminals. That's why. And everybody's okay with it. And not one news reporter will say what I'm saying. Why did they do that? Because they were covering up their criminal activities. They won't even say, a lot of people are saying that's why they did. They won't even go that far. They won't even bring this up. So, guess what? Hours after his lawsuit was filed, so he files a lawsuit. And then a couple hours later, it was revealed that police had filed the search warrant and the affidavit with a court clerk on Monday morning, 6 days after Sterling was killed. They filed to get the warrant to go get that stuff. Now get this. So get this. The warrant suggests that Cook waited 5 hours after he began his investigation at the Triple S Mart before applying for legal permission to search for the video. Cook submitted an affidavit to Commissioner Quintus Lawrence at 5:23 a.m., and Lawrence authorized the warrant that very same minute. Court papers show at 5:50 a.m., Cook began his search and finished by 7 a.m., according to the warrant's return. So this guy, I want to search the store. I got to get a warrant. Let's wait till 5:23 a.m. Let's wait 4 hours. Let's wait 4.5 hours. So according to his lawsuit, police detained him and took the hard drive around at 1 a.m. They didn't even get a hold of this judge until 5:23 a.m. So they took all that stuff at 1 a.m. while they're still detaining the store owner, by the way. So either police waited 5 hours to get a warrant and seized the hard drive, or they grabbed the hard drive and got a warrant after the fact to make the seizure appear legal. That's from the Daily Beast. And we all know that's what happened. So again, criminal cops. This is a culture that cops get to do whatever they want and nothing ever happens. There's nothing going to happen to those cops. They got a warrant 6 days later. Why'd you lock up the guy who owned the store? Oh, I didn't want him to contaminate the investigation.
I mean, this could happen to anyone.
Happen to anyone.
And you know how his
cops get to do this no matter what. That's how they work.
I think, it really crystallizes what's happening here by his lawsuit. Seeks damages for false arrest, false imprisonment, the illegal taking and seizing of his security system, illegally commandeering his business.
After they murder someone, that's what they do. They commit a series of illegal atrocities to cover up their illegal murder. So that's what I mean when I say cops are criminals, and we need to keep them on a short leash. You know, we need cops. You know, the people who are attracted to policing are a little off, because if they wanted to help their communities, they become a teacher or an EMT or a fireman, or they go teach kids how to read. No, they want a gun. So that's a certain type of people that we need. Also need to understand that's who they are, and that we need to keep them on a short leash, because these cops are fucking criminals, and it's blatant. And the news won't tell you that.